This video is titled Baba Ramdev, Allopathy, Indian Doctors, and IMS F.I.R. Now, it is a disastrous day for Indian doctors. When I say Indian doctors, it stands for every Indian doctor, be it a junior resident, a senior resident, a private practicing doctor, government doctor, every medical fraternity is outrageous today. Why is that happening? Let's have a look at this.
लाखों लोगों की मौत एलोपैथी की दवा खाने से हुई है। जितने लोगों की मौत हॉस्पिटल न जाने के कारण से हुई है, ऑक्सीजन न मिलने के कारण से हुई है, उससे ज्यादा लोगों की मौत ऑक्सीजन के बावजूद हुई है दवा एलोपैथी।
So this is the Baba Ramdev opinion on allopathic doctors today, where he has said that there are more patients that are killed within the hospitals than outside the hospitals because of the medications and other things that doctors have given, which is an outrageous comment made by him. I will share the complete details of the video later. But however, let us look at this man who is commenting about Indian doctors as if he is a foolproof evidence. So who is Baba Ramdev? So first, let us look at look at him. So Baba Ramdev is from is a yoga guru. He has co-founded the Patanjali Ayurveda with his colleague Balakrishna. Of course, he's a very famous. At the end of 1990s, farming conditions of his native village worsened due to reasons depleting water table, which prompted him to move to Haridwar. Subsequently, he called his family to Haridwar. Baba Ramdev's family members have played different roles in Ayurveda ventures depending on their capabilities. His father oversees activities in Patanjali Ayurveda. His brother controls the company's finances. So the family is involved in all the finances and other things when it comes to Patanjali and other things. But however, let us look at some of the things that are happening in and around. Why he has been a controversial man throughout. First thing is in 2017, a book was titled, the Untold Story of Baba Ramdev, from a godman to tycoon, is said to be abolished. And also in 2011, BKS Iyengar. BKS Iyengar is a Padma Shri awardee, Padma Bhushan awardee. About him, I'll tell you in detail. So he made a comment saying that Kapalbhati that Baba Ramdev is teaching is not good for many patients and it is going to be detrimental for some of them. Baba Ramdev also made a comment, our priest is Gyan. In 2013, when Supreme Court actually decriminalized Section 377 about homosexuality, Baba Ramdev said that homosexuality is a bad addiction and claimed he can cure it by yoga. So he's been into poking noses at things that are not required. So first thing is Patanjali. When it comes to Patanjali, it is it is grossing around 45 billion with monthly sales of 5 billion. So it is around 77 million US. So of which Baba Ramdev is the face and also Balakrishna is handles the 98% of the share. That is totally fine. It is business. It is up to them. But however, it has also been accused of misleading advertisements about its products and filthy testing before being launched to the market. So even the same happened with the Coronil also, though it was not completely approved or completely marketed. So they announced products saying that any drug is more beneficious, or the marketing strategies that they used was very misleading. So this has been controversies have been ongoing here, and also there is a controversy that they don't pay their employees basic employment of 6,000 rupees per month. All this, but now here comes the important part. That is in June 2020, Patanjali Ayurveda announced a drug named Coronil for COVID-19. So he organized a press conference saying that this is the foolproof drug for COVID-19 cure. But however, let us look at the response of other states. Government of Maharashtra banned the drug. Lawsuits were filed against him and Bihar and Rajasthan, and also Madras High Court fined them 10 lakh rupees for its false claims on drugs. Patanjali finally withdrawn that it is a cure. Finally, through the approaching the government, they announced it as an immune supplement and not a COVID cure drug, which is because of all these things that happened. Now, let us look at some of the gyan that he is preached and which are shown as science in across various media platforms. So let us look at this now.
साथ में सरसों का तेल भी नाक में डाल दे तो यदि पूरे रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक में कहीं पर भी कोरोना होगा तो पेट में चला जाएगा और पेट के जो केमिकल्स हैं कोरोना को मार देते।
So sarson ka tel is mustard oil. If
साथ
you
में
put
सरसों का
in in the nose, it will go all the way to the stomach and the virus would get killed. Somebody has to, if you are a biology student, I think this comes, for state syllabus it comes in 11th. Of course, I think CBSE and ICSE they study in high school itself, I guess. So somebody has to tell Baba Ramdev about anatomy, that whatever content that the nose passes through will not go to the respiratory tract, as Baba Ramdev is telling that lower respiratory tract पे virus रहता है, और when you take सरसों का तेल, all the virus will get killed and वो stomach में चला जाएगा. Somebody has to tell him that respiratory system is different and digestive system is different, and there is something called as epiglottis which separates whatever food or content from the nasal passages not to go into the lower respiratory tract. Any high school student or a biology student, basic biology student would be able to tell you the difference. Now, next question that comes is, why are they promoting mustard oil? Whether it is actually effective or not effective. Let's look at this video now.
सरसों का तेल पतंजलि का सस्ता नहीं है, क्योंकि सरसों के तेल में इतनी मिलावट होती है, उसको हम सस्ता नहीं उपलब्ध करवा सकते थे। और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से लेकर के और फिर जो उपयोग करने वाले यूजर्स हैं उनके हाथों तक पहुंचते पहुंचते एक आर्थिक चक्र भी होता है, उसमें कुछ लोगों को लाभांश भी देना पड़ता है। उसके चलते हम सरसों का तेल सस्ता तो नहीं उपलब्ध करा पाए, लेकिन आज जिनको शुद्ध सरसों का तेल खाना है वो पूरे देश में से ढूंढ ढूंढ करके पतंजलि का सरसों का तेल खाते, ढूंढ ढूंढ के खाते। तो जहर
What is important is that, see, mustard oil is not important. A farmer who grows mustard seeds at his own in the farm can extract pure mustard oil. That is not the agenda here. The agenda is selling the branded mustard oil from his company. That is the agenda here. He's seen in the video saying that mustard oil that we are giving you may be more costly, but it is the effective or it is the pure one. Now let us look at what he says. No, a threatening tone when he says that if at all you don't put, if at all you don't pay those additional money. See here now.
क्यों खाएं? 10 रुपए सस्ता तेल खा लिया, 10 रुपए सस्ता घी खा लिया, और फिर 1000 की दवाई खाते। भाई 20 रुपए महंगा तेल ले लेता, घी ले लेता, तो 1000 रुपए की दवाई तो नहीं खानी पड़ती। अब लोगों में ये विश्वास जम रहा है।
So this is promoting the brand and not promoting the content. So now let us look at what he has got to say. So all this video is about GAN versus science that I'm saying right now. In case viewers, in case if you are very busy now, pause the video, you take your time and come back, watch whenever you are free. I want people to go through this entire video, since I have made it so comprehensive. Though the video may get long, I made it a comprehensive video so that everybody understand what is reality, what is illusion, what is blame gaming. That should be understood, because many times when you oppose somebody like Baba Ramdev, there is a notion that everybody says that okay, you are opposing the entire Ayurveda, which is not so, which I will be explaining later. But in case if you are busy, pause the video, come back and watch it again later. I want everybody to watch it full. Now let us get back to this video now.
जवान व्यक्ति 100 बार और बुजुर्ग व्यक्ति 50-60 बार ऐसे डीप ब्रीदिंग कर लेता है, इसका मतलब उसको कोरोना नहीं है।
कोरोना नहीं है. So no need to do swab testing, no need to do RT-PCR, no need to do RAT, no need to do CT. So Baba Ramdev कुछ no और कोरोना नहीं है. So now let us look at this now.
तुम्हारा रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम फेल हो ही नहीं सकता, मरते ऐसे। अरे भगवान ने मुफ्त में ऑक्सीजन दे रखी है, ले ऑक्सीजन की कमी पड़ रही है, भगवान ने सारा ब्रह्मांड भर रखा है ऑक्सीजन से। क्या बोला? बाहर सिलेंडर ढूंढ रहे हैं, तो अपने भीतर 2 सिलेंडर लगा रखे, ये सिलेंडर है, भर सिलेंडर कम पड़ गए। इतने तेजस्वी लोग हैं हमारे पास।
So this is him saying about cylinder and other things. See, what you need to understand is You must have seen the video of Baba Ramdev in his bicycle. So when his cycle gets punctured, why does he have to go to puncture shops? There is so much of air in the air in the atmosphere, no? So much of air he can just get filled with his bicycle's puncture. But he would still go. So you need to understand the basic thing, the respiratory system, the anatomy, the physiology. They don't understand anything. So, but when it comes to preaching, they score 100 out of 100, which is a very sad state of affairs. And we give them, VIP kind of attention, and whatever they preach would be considered as scientific evidence across our various media platforms. So that is how preaching. Now, of course, everybody is free to speak what they feel like. But what we need to understand is a businessman versus a Guruji and his verbal diarrhea. So why do we need to differentiate whether he's a businessman or a Guruji? Is because when it comes to him, somebody being a businessman, they would promote the products on the brand value and not on the content value. Like for example, I've shown you some pictures here of student, and you get the ad, dentist का number 1 सुझाया हुआ brand, doctors का number 1 सुझाया हुआ brand. All the doctors that you see in the ad of products are not qualified doctors, at least not MBBS doctors, because according to medical ethics and NMC guidelines and MCI guidelines, you are not supposed to participate in an advertise. It is violation of medical ethics. You're not supposed to do it. So any doctor that you see in the ad promoting a product is actually not a qualified doctor. It's somebody who is an ad artist. Why this is being done is because somebody who is a doctor can utilize his image to promote a product, which is wrong. So similarly, these businessmen, the image that they portray is that of a Guruji, but in reality, the main agenda is the business. So this we need to understand. So now when it comes to reality, so though they are preaching so much about many things, though they are speaking so much against allopathy, when it comes to reality, you need to see that this is here Mr. Balkrishna getting admitted at AIMS. This is Baba Ramdev getting admitted in an allopathic hospital when he was injured and when he was sick. So this is again from Rishikesh AIMS that we are seeing. So they are misleading a large sector of population with their agenda when they speak against allopathy. Because when it comes to crisis, when it comes to their own ill health, the practice that they are doing is the allopathic practice. They are going to allopathic doctors, but they are misleading the population. This every citizen should need to understand, and this even common public, non-medicals also need to see that this is the reality. So when it comes to this, involvement with respect to the higher ministers and other things, this was the launch of the coronal tablet, which was said to be a WHO approved drug because one of the ministers that was involved was a WHO panel member. So within the you can see here the WHO GMP certified. So within advertisement, whenever they published it or whenever they launched it, they said that it is WHO approved. But when it came to reality, WHO had to give a tweet saying that they are not reviewed or certified the effectiveness of any traditional medicine, but they are using the ministers, they are using the name of the WHO to sell their products. Now, what is the most common political narrative that we see is, so you suppose you oppose Baba Ramdev's comments on doctors. So now people will tell, oh, okay, you are opposing Ramdev. Okay, Ramdev supports, promotes Ayurveda. So that means you are opposing Ayurveda. So since Ayurveda is an indigenous and ancient tradition of Indian tradition, so that means that you are opposing Indian history and culture. You are anti-Ayurveda person. You are anti-Indian culture person, or you are anti-indigenous practice person. This is the most common narrative that is given. So now, what is the difference here? To defend Baba Ramdev's comments, what we are showing is Indian history is the defense. So if I tell Baba Ramdev जो किया गलत किया, people will tell हाँ तू तो वैसे ही बोलेगा ना, तू तो एंटी इंडियन है या तो फिर तू तो एंटी इंडियन ट्रेडिशन है. This is the common narrative, which is not true. So now let us look at Indian origins of Ayurveda. Charaka Samhita is all both Charaka and Sushruta, but dates back to more than 2,100 years. their contribution to medicine is significant. Sushruta is a father of surgery, so his contribution with respect to surgery and cosmetics is paramount. When it comes to Charaka, also he mentioned on ancient pharmacy, nutrition. They have also mentioned on what is a physician, what is who should be what is a doctor, all these things. So when it comes to these people, we have equal respect. Their contribution when it comes to the you know pre-time times, nearly 2,200 years, when the modern medicine was not there, whatever they did was tremendous job. Also, you should know that what is the difference between somebody who is qualified and not qualified. See, I have shown here a list of so many naturopathy and yogic science colleges which are affiliated to universities, which gets somebody who is passing from it will get the equivalent AYUSH doctor degree, and also they get a KMC registration certificate to practice whatever they have learned. So this image is from SDM, SDM college, which is a naturopathy and yogic science college. I know one of my friends who did her bachelor's in naturopathy and yoga science there. So these are somebody who studies yoga, be it naturopathy, be it traditional medicine systematically. So this is again Sri Dharmasthala Manjunatha, which is SDM, who has a lot of medical colleges, dental colleges. Along with that, they have college for naturopathy and yogic sciences. So this is notification from National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience, which is NIMHANS Bangalore, which is an institute of national importance. There are only 4 institutes of national importance in India. So this is one of them, premier institute. So what they have is they also have a course for MD in Ayurveda, which is a PDF. If you do DNB and MD in psychiatry, you can do a integrative psychiatry, which integrates Ayurveda and psychiatry and mental health aspects. So if you see that MSc in yoga therapy they do, there is MD in Manasaroga. So all this, why I am saying this is, there is a difference between somebody who is a qualified doctor, whether they are whether they follow traditional medicine or they follow allopathic medicine, versus somebody who is preaching, or somebody who practices quackery, somebody who utters bluffs in the media. So this I want you to understand. So what you need to understand is that these are all qualified doctors who pass through BAMS or BNYS. And but however, these quackery people, these businessmen, don't give them a chance to speak. These don't give a chance for learned men, learned qualified doctors of traditional medicine to speak, because their agenda would not stand long. When it comes to yoga, again, you can tell B.K.S. Iyengar, whom I was mentioning, was in 2011 opposed Kapalbhati of Baba Ramdev. He has internationalized yoga. He has gone to Switzerland, UK. He's also, been yoga teacher for Queen Elizabeth and Jayaprakash Narayan and many other celebrities. His book on Light on Yoga, which now deals with Iyengar Yoga, is very famous. He has been awarded with Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. These people should be our role models for yoga. When it comes to Maladihalli Swamiji, so the Swamiji is a very, very humble man who was called as Bhikari. Bhikari is a beggar who would go to places, asking for rice and groceries. Within that, he would feed all the school children. He had a school at Maladihalli in Karnataka. So he would teach yoga. He has said to be had taught 4.5 million students. He has taught yoga. State government has offered him an award. National government has offered him awards. He has flatly refused. So these people should be our role models when it comes to yoga, when it comes to naturopathy and other things. We should focus more on the qualified people than on these quacks. Now let us come to this video.
गजब का तमाशा है। एलोपैथी एक ऐसी स्टूपिड और दिवालिया साइंस है कि पहले
So first is stupid, which is a unconstitutional word that they have used, which was uncalled for, and also bankrupt organization. So this is personal target on allopathy.
गजब का तमाशा है कि पहले क्लोरोक्विन फेल हुई, फिर रेमडेसिविर फेल हो गई, फिर एंटीबायोटिक्स इनके फेल हो गए, फिर स्टेरॉइड इनके फेल हो गए, प्लाज्मा थेरापी के ऊपर भी कल बैन लग गया, और इवर मार्कटिन भी फेल हो गया, और जो है अभी एक बुखार के लिए क्या दे रहे हैं वो फेवी फ्लू, वो भी फेल है। जितने भी दवाएं दे रहे हैं, फिर लोग कह रहे हैं तमाशा हो क्या रहा है।
So this is something that you should always remember, that modern medicine or scientific practices runs on evidence. Okay, whenever a drug is given, and what they follow is they do randomized control trials, they do clinical trials. Of course, they are given in phased manners. So none of the drugs that are given would cause any harm to them, because phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials they would have already passed. But however, clinical efficacy from one drug to another drug may vary. Science evolves. Imagine hydroxychloroquine was not found to be very effective for treating corona. But however, what if all the allopathic doctors and scientists said, "Hey, we have already, we are already giving it. What will happen now if we don't give? What will be the impression of public? That is okay. We will continue to give that only." If that was the mindset of doctors, then science would not have evolved so much. So there are so many drugs, from penicillin. So from injection penicillin to the most modern medicines that we are using, from vaccine for smallpox to vaccine for COVID-19, the mindset of the doctors and the scientists is that we should always evolve over time, we should adapt, we should improvise, and not to continue propagating our fake agenda, and not try to say that whatever we have done is the best. So we none of like how people launch coronil. Have you seen anybody launching any of the allopathic drugs? They're directly given to the patient after they complete their trials, and then they're done on marketing surveillance, phase 4 trials, other things would be done, and result would be declared. If the evidence is not conclusive, then the treatment would be withdrawn, giving chance for an alternative modality of treatment. That is how allopathy works. But however, how would science be understood by these men is very sad to know.
बुखार की दवाई उनकी कोई कोरोना के ऊपर काम नहीं कर रही, क्योंकि आप बॉडी का टेम्परेचर उतार देते हैं। टेम्परेचर जिस कारण से आ रहा है, उस वायरस को, उस इन्फ्लेमेशन को, उस बैक्टीरिया को, उस
अरे बैक्टीरिया नहीं भाई, वायरस है, वायरस. So I pity their understanding, knowledge. Okay, we'll continue.
जो है अलग उस फंगस को, जो भी अलग अलग प्रकार के इन्फेक्शन से जिस कारण से बुखार हो रहा हो, उसका निवारण तुम्हारे पास में है नहीं, तो कैसे ठीक करोगे? इसलिए
So this lockdown rules and other things, wearing of masks, nothing applies to them. So because they are all powerful people, so they can gather people in halls and they can preach without mask.
मैं बहुत बड़ी बात कह रहा हूं, हो सकता है इसके ऊपर कुछ लोग विवाद करें। लाखों लोगों की मौत एलोपैथी की दवा खाने से हुई है। जितने लोगों की मौत हॉस्पिटल न जाने के कारण से हुई है, ऑक्सीजन न मिलने के कारण से हुई है, उससे ज्यादा लोगों की
You can see somebody here nodding their head in approval.
मौत ऑक्सीजन के बावजूद हुई है, दवा एलोपैथी की दवा मिलने के बावजूद हुई है, स्टीराइड की वजह से हुई है। ये कोई ताली बजा।
So you can see his followers clapping. How you can malalign an entire professional community? How can you do that just because you are a famous man, you are a businessman, and you have followers and you have probably support from some of the influential people? How can you malalign image of an entire professional community? How can you tell that they have caused deaths? This is so outrageous to know.
नहीं, वैसे बात बता रहा हूं, ये पीड़ा की बात है कि लोग समझ ही नहीं रहे करें क्या। इसलिए अभी लाखों लोगों की मौत का कारण एलोपैथी है। आप कहेंगे फिर
So when it comes to India now, we know that the infection is up to around, every day we are getting 2.7 lakh cases per day. But the mortality in India is still somewhere around less than 2%. That is, 98% of the infected patients are, going out of the hospital alive and healthy. Let us see, even if there are 50 to 60% patients who are asymptomatic, who does not need treatment, definitive treatment, there is still a 30 to 40% of the patients that requires treatment. Within that 40%, even if there are 2% mortality, there's 38% of the patients that are living because somebody cares. A professional community cares. A professional community nurtures them. A professional community keeps his priorities aside and treats them. So I repeat, so if there is 50 to 60% of asymptomatic patients, there is still a 40% of patients who requires treatment. If 2% is the mortality, there is still large set of population that are getting benefited. So total number of infection in India till now, with nearly 48% getting benefited from doctors, allopathic doctors, is a huge number. By speaking so audaciously, you malign their image, you taint them, which is a sad reality.
मैं कहता हूं एलोपैथी साइंस पूरी खराब नहीं है। मॉडर्न मेडिकल साइंस का हम स्वागत करते हैं। साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी का विरोध नहीं है। उसमें जो प्रयोग किए जाने वाले जो अलग अलग जो मेडिसिन्स हैं, जो उसकी अलग अलग थ्योरीज हैं, जो उसके अलग अलग फाइंडिंग्स हैं, जो अलग अलग उनकी झूठी रिसर्च हैं, उनका विरोध है। जितने लोगों की मौत
So he's calling the research duty research. We are yet to get a report from clinical trial report on coronil.
ऑक्सीजन न मिलने से, दवा न मिलने से, हॉस्पिटल न जाने से हुए उससे ज्यादा लोगों की मौत वहां हो रही है और वहीं अब नए उपद्रव हो रहे हैं।
Subscribe to
So we should also remember that, the number of deaths that are happening for which doctors are not responsible. Like for example, the availability of beds, number of beds is not decided by doctors. The availability of oxygen, drugs which are under larger marketing control, which are not by the doctors. That also needs to be understood. When these people speak so outrageously, in spite of us actively involved in saving a huge proportion of population of say around 38 to 48%, I would feel like mentioning, see, now the difference between somebody who is a learned man and somebody who is a con man is that the ability to adapt to situations, the ability to evolve, the ability to learn, and the ability to not be delusional. So this is how we all started here. So this is one of the first stethoscopes. Now we have spect and whatnot. This is with respect to the insulin here, Banting and McLeod. So when insulin isolation was started in 1921, and now we still, even today, we have newer forms of insulin coming to the market and other things. Scientists are actively working on it to improvise and adapt. Imagine if the same scenario would have happened in 1921 at an international arena where scientists were malaligned. What would be the kind of moral injury that one would go through? What would be the impact of individual, the thing is that you should also remember this is not very new. This is not, and also this is not new to the medical science also. See, Galileo Galilei was, you know, jailed for saying on heliocentric model. That is when he said, sun is in the middle and planets revolve around. Because people believed that Earth is in the middle and sun would come and go. He was jailed. Similarly, but however, science evolved. Then Copernicus came. Okay, similarly, science also evolves. So from smallpox to COVID-19 vaccine, I was saying it is nearly hundreds of years that we have evolved. Now the mortality is less. Now the morbidity of illness are less. Now the life expectancy is more for any disease per se. So this is the first image when the phototherapy was thought to be effective. All these babies are newborn babies, so who are exposed to sun. Now, of course, we have got phototherapy machine and other things. If people had stood against them, if quackmen had stood against the doctors and scientists, then science would not have evolved so much. So this is from the Black Death image from the Black Death, that is plague. You can see so many deaths, but do we have plague now? And the answer is clearly no, because people believed in science. So does this statement change anything? Somebody making some comment. What do we need to understand is that, see, he is not any any simple ordinary layman walking around in the street. He is a very successful businessman. He has lakhs of followers. He has, of course, influential name with respect to higher ups at the nation. So his statements do matter. Okay. Now, when you say that at the peak of the pandemic, when we are in the middle of a crisis, when we are in the middle of the disaster, how is that going to play with the moral of doctors? Now, whom do we have to fight? Whether we have to fight the virus, or whether we have to fight the shortage of necessary things, or whether we have to fight these self-proclaimed godmen, or self-proclaimed gurujis who make these comments, or whether we have to fight the followers now who get triggered by these comments made by these men. What happens to our dignity of labor when our own patients does not respect, when such critical comments are repetitively made? Now there are a lot of rumors that spread, negativity spreads rapidly, rampantly, like a wildfire. We see so many negative things about doctors being spread across media. Good things take slow time to spread. Of course, other things take rapid course of action. What would be the impact of doctor patient trust that we would have, and impact of these comments constantly being made? This is not the first time he has made. Previously also he has made similar comments. Higher national RDS like Ford, FIMA have come in given statement many times against his audacious behavior. The incidents of assaults on doctors are likely to increase because the image of a doctor in the community is going to be at risk. The moral of working doctors. Why do we work so much? Why do we have to work so much? Is because one thing is personal satisfaction when patient gets discharged and goes well. The other thing is that people would have a sense of gratitude, and the third thing would have that everybody would appreciate the kind of work that you have done. So first thing is your first thing would be your personal satisfaction. But when nobody is recognizing, if the government says that what you are practicing, he is mentioning allopathic doctors as quacks. If people who are at influential position in the society says this, and if the government remains quiet, so the morale of the working doctors who have kept their life at risk, let me tell you, 1,200 doctors have died in the pandemic. 1,200 allopathic doctors have died in the pandemic. So this is significantly going to affect us. So how do I look forward, way forward? What do I look at is, first thing is now the Twitter has already is trending now as I speak. So arrest quack Ramdev was the hashtag that many have used. Now it is already on number one in trending. One thing is you can go through the Twitter. You can also tweet, retweet. Next thing is F.I.R. IMA has said, national headquarters has said that they would file an F.I.R. They already filed a complaint against him. But I would say even all the state level IMS, of course, a student or a student level RDS cannot do it, since the people that were fighting would be very huge that students cannot be handled. But however, all the state level IMS also should parallelly put a FIR against him for the statements. Pressurizing ministers and government of India, people at national IMAs and other authorities should pressurize ministers and government of India. Because why this is important is because we know many of our own ministers who take selfie with these men, but they would keep quiet when they say something like this, which is to say that they indirectly affirmate whatever they have said. What a sad state of affairs to leave. What a sad state of affairs for Indian doctors this is. So our own, be it ministers or any national level, celebrities, take selfies with them. They promote their brands, but when they make these comments, they should at least tell, अरे बाबा मत करो ऐसा, वो लोग बहुत काम कर रहे हैं, अगर वो काम करना छोड़ दिया तो देश संभालना मुश्किल हो जाता है. People can at least tell this, or they can openly give a statement saying that we do not support or endorse the statements made by so and so person. But sadly they don't do it, because again, when it comes to prioritizing agenda and reality, we focus on agenda. Very sad. So to conclude, I would tell, I'd okay, I'd half written the poetry. बरसाओ ना फूल तुम, बजाओ ना थाली तुम, यूं ना जलाओ दीप तुम, हम भी तो इंसान हैं, इतना भी शिकायत मत किया करो. एक दिन लड़ते लड़ते थक जाएंगे, एक दिन लड़ते लड़ते थक जाएंगे, क्या पता स्टेप नीचे रखे चोला उठा के चल पड़ेंगे. Share with your friends, family, medicos, non-medicos. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Do share this video with others. Thanks a lot.